So when he wakes up the next morning, he's like covered in popcorn. His mouth is the Sahara. And he says, well, at least I'm in my own bed. That's really good. And at least I'm alone. At least I think so. And then he just yells, hello, out into his apartment. And this is when I started thinking about my Rogue tampon.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh, my God. I can already see where this is going. Okay, let's go.
I'm Melody Carlisle.
And I'm Sabrina Bradley.
And this is Heaving Bosoms. This is the podcast where best friends recap romance novels and other kissing media that makes us swoon, snark, and refills our cups.
Whether you've read the book or are coming in blind, we'll lay bare every delicious scene and revel in the tropes and subgenres that make romance amazing.
All right, listener, strap in and strap on. Headphones are highly recommended. Okay, I'm here.
I am also here.
I'm here. I'm ready. I am, however, here by the skin of my teeth. Do you want to know why?
Yes, absolutely.
I can't think about anything other than gardening, which is
that's
really
deeply unfortunate.
Tough.
That's deeply unfortunate because I don't know that a single plant gets talked about in this book.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. It's also deeply unfortunate because we are only in February. So it's not like I can really go out and do very much, although I have been doing a shocking amount because my entire personality lately is gardening.
You can go piddle around in the dirt, just like...
Yeah, no, I've been shoveling, I've been moving, I've been reading about nothing but seeds and tubers.
Well, nothing, but...
I mean, basically.
You did just finish a 450-page book.
I'm saying extracurricularly.
Oh, okay.
Other than the other book that I just read, too. So I'm reading romance and gardening. That's what I'm reading right now. Period, the end. That's all I can think about. It's all that I'm interested in. I am an absolute mess.
I'm sorry. Is that an IPB on your shirt?
Yeah. It's the shirt that says, read what you love and love what you read, with an Ice Planet Barbarian in a clinch. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Literally all I could... So listener, for those of you who cannot see, all I can see is like a blue head with horns, basically. And I was like, I like zeroed in. I was like, I think that's an IPB.
It's an IPB. It is. They're in a clinch. They're in a dramatic clinch.
Where did you get that?
I am going to have to tell you that at a later date. I think they were doing a limited sale, so I'm not super sure. But it might still be around, and we can post the link. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because it's one of my favorite shirts. I wear it all the time. I get a lot of looks, a lot of quizzical looks about it, but that's okay. Okay. Anyway, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to grow all the flowers. And it's going to be pretty much all flowers this year.
You are on like such an inspiration because I literally live on 3 acres. Like if anybody grows shit, it should be me, right? So like,
Sabrina. 3 acres?
Yeah.
I would die. I would die for 3 acres.
You would have a Fey Wonderland.
My God. I'm working with roughly 5,000 square feet. And don't worry, I'm going to maximize it. But I
can't wait for a picture.
Lose my ever-loving mind if I lived on 3 acres. I might abandon podcast and become a flower farmer if I lived on 3 acres. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Good Lord. Well, I'm about to literally abandon podcast because I hear this
Are
is
they being naughty?
the dogs are barking as if one of them is like, this is mine, stay away.
Uh-oh.
And I don't want to know what is theirs, stay away, because there should be nothing.
Right. Right. You didn't leave anything there. That's for darn sure. Listener, I'm like figuring out where I can put a fucking wisteria. I want cherry trees. I want blueberries. I want blackberries. I am going to do raspberries as well. I was on the fence, but it turns out raspberries apparently have wonderful foliage for like flower arranging. I don't know who I am, and that's fine. I've decided that's okay. We all go through phases in our lives, and this is my phase right now. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And don't worry, I'm not leaving podcast, you know. But also, use this as your inspiration to tell your friends about podcasts. Spread the word about podcast. The more successful podcast is, the longer Melody stays. Hello there. I was just having a quick word with listener. I was just waxing poetical.
About how
With
you're going to go
listener.
be a flower farmer instead of a podcaster?
No, about how I'm not going to do that. Especially if they tell their friends and more people listen and leave reviews.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know?
Yeah. So there was something that one of the dogs decided was theirs.
What?
Have I ever told you about how I'm pretty sure that my dogs have a secret portal that I don't know about where they pull out unused tampons?
Oh, wow. Why?
It's their favorite, that they would prefer an unused, unopened tampon to chew on than a used tampon.
You know what?
Like-
thank goodness for small favors.
I mean,
First
it's not
of all-
small favors because at least a used tampon has already expanded.
I don't understand that logic at all.
Well, if it's not expanded yet and they swallow it,
Oh, they could misjudge the size and then it can get stuck places.
yes, which
I
is very
see.
expensive surgery. Luckily, we have never, knock on, I'm not even going to say that out loud.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they have a portal. I walked out and one of Christmas had obliterated an unused tampon, and I legitimately don't know where she could have found it.
Oh
Like,
my
where did
God.
you?
Yeah, that's incredible. I bet they built their own little doggy door into tampon land.
Yeah, they fucking Lion Witch in the wardrobe themselves into the fucking ads with all those women bouncing around.
Oh, yeah, the frolicking
in
ones.
white dresses.
You'd think they own
Like-
flower farms. They're frolicking so much.
Jesus,
No.
ball sex. I
know.
don't under fucking stand it. How do they like? I can't find a tampon when I need one, and then my dogs are just like, "Hey,
Oh my
hey
God.
girl."
That's incredible.
Awful.
Also,
It's
we'll get
awful.
to it, but one of the happenings in this book made me think about my rogue tampon story, and I can't wait to tell you.
What happening could have possibly?
You just get ready, my friend. Get ready.
I don't know that I am ready.
Who knows? Jury's still out.
Hey, listener, guess what? This is the tampon episode. Apparently,
At least it's not the poop episode, you know?
you can't say that as if there's only one poop episode,
That's true.
right?
No, that's
Like,
true.
We're
And that's
13-year-old
why
we're
people love
4-year-old.
us.
We're 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
And we talk about poop a lot,
Yeah.
okay?
It's true. It's true.
part of what's endearing about us. Any waiter.
Any waiter.
Anyway.
You know what we get to do right now? We have people who have joined our Patreon. And so we want to say
Yes.
welcome and hey and thanks.
And thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you love all the shit we're throwing at you. Our 50 Shades watch party was so fun. That's going to be up soon.
Boy.
Yeah.
Have you put up Breaking Down Part 2 yet?
No, ma'am. Listen, how dare you come at me like that?
I'm just going to say that that's going to come up before
You
50 Shades.
Yeah, props. Props will. Okay. All right. So,
Oh my God. Mel was just hoping we'd all forget about it.
no, maybe yes. Okay. So, welcome to Lack and Porsche Tea. Or no, Portia Tea, right? Is that Porsche? I always say Porsche the car, but everybody else says Porsche.
I do too.
I say
don't
Porsche
know.
the car.
Guess what, though?
What?
I know for a fact that I can pronounce the next two.
Yeah.
Welcome to Caitlin B. and call me Little T.
Oh, hey, Little T. Absolutely. Hey, and thanks to Kate I and Caitlin C.
To Carrie L. and Allison M.
And then Lauren R. and Catherine J.
And Vivian M. and Ellen C.
That's Helen.
Thank you. Helen C.
Helen. Yeah, she likes the hard H on there.
Helen
I've heard.
C. Helen C.
Helen. Hey, we love you. Thank you for joining the
Yes.
Patreon. Thank you for supporting us. And
We
thanks
super
for
appreciate it.
playing in our playground. We like it
Yeah.
when you play in our playground. It's really fun.
That is a statement that could
Why?
be taken a lot of ways.
Do it. Take it however you want, listener.
Mhm.
Okay?
That reminds me. Did I tell you in the Patreon Discord, the person, I don't remember their name off the top of my head because I literally just remembered this thing. I got consent for whatever the consensual embrace, nuzzle, snuggle,
Yay!
like whatever
Was that the
You
one with
remember?
the tiny hump or was that something else?
Yeah, I think it was the person I was just gonna grind on or some shit like that. They're like, you have my permission.
That is so heartwarming.
I totally forgot I had said that. And at first I was like,
Oh.
what? I thought about it. I was like, when did I say that? And then I was like, oh.
That's some embrace shenanigans right there.
It is. It really is. The embrace.
Yeah.
I don't know. This was a fun embrace. Anyway.
Hey, and if you want to do our reading embrace this year, all the prompts are on our Linktree and the website and all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh. And right now,
Yeah.
some of our favorite responses from last year are getting posted on
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays,
Yeah.
except for February 1st, because we did upload the February reading list. So
Hey.
it's too late for this episode because this is on that.
We're
Any
great at
hoodles.
this. Okay, listen.
Uh-huh.
We read a really, really good book this week.
Holy shit. I
It's a
have
book that I've
friend
been
who-
meaning to read, you know?
Same. So I learned about it through my book club,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually the one who recommended this book because on our reading list, like we always do, 3 Patreon voted books
Yep.
from the 5-star rec list, and then
Mhm.
you and I will pick one or two other books
Yeah.
to read on top of that. And I recommended this one
Mm-hmm.
because book club recommended it. Because during one of the months when I was still getting my feet under me with like podcasting, I didn't go to book club for like a couple of months in a row. And one of those months, they did this book and got to talk to the author at the end of the month.
Nice.
And they were talking about how
Zio is
fucking
so
incredible
cool.
the book was.
Yeah.
And wow, they weren't fucking wrong.
No. She's got quite the way with words, you know?
Oh,
Yeah, her prose is insanely good.
like,
And
I could
this
hear the music.
Yes. I know.
It was a 5 senses book.
Yeah.
I could smell the smells. I could
Yeah.
taste the tastes.
Yeah.
I could hear the things. I
could feel the
see it,
feels.
and I felt the feels. I did cry
Yeah.
multiple times in this book.
Yeah. It's so good. And it's funny that we did Hard Hitter and this like not back to back. Maybe back to back. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be back to
It's
back.
gonna be back to
'cause
back. Listen,
Hard Hitter, yeah.
Listener, we're in a recording time zone weirdness. Like we're time zone? We're in a recording cyclone. Where we don't know.
Yeah.
I can't tell when we're recording and when it's gonna come out. I can't keep it in my brain.
Don't worry, Mel. I do know exactly when things are happening because I did go down a hyper focus
No, you may not.
organization.
That's for banter for next week. Keep it in your pants, ma'am.
Well, we'll save it then.
Keep
Just
your
remember
pants on.
to bring the cyclone back.
You nudist.
You're not wrong.
You're showing listener all the goods at once. You gotta piecemeal it out.
Mel, I did almost come to this recording in boxers. So anyway, moving on. This fucking book.
So it's funny that we did Hard Hitter and then this book sort of back to back because like that was also a book where I was like, oh my gosh, I can feel the massage, you know?
Yeah.
And then this one, same thing.
That
I
may
could
have been,
hear
for
the
me, that may
music.
have, frankly, Hard Hitter, yes, it was described very well, but it may have also just been wishful hoping and dreaming in my brain, thinking about getting a massage.
No, truly. And then like I could feel the euphoria of getting into the groove with someone.
Went through every single emotion. Like
Yeah.
this book is a journey. Like,
Yes.
wow.
Multifaceted, this book.
Yes, especially because the non-romance plot is just as, if not more important.
And
Or like
compelling.
more, like, yes, that's the word exactly. I convinced somebody. I convinced my friend who doesn't read romance.
Yeah.
I started screaming about this book when I finished, and he was like, well, that's a lot of praise. I'll have to read it. And I almost, like, I did scream alone in my house. I was like, I got one. And like, honestly, this is such a good book to be a foray into romance because the romance
Agreed.
is really compelling. It pulls you in. It's
Mhm.
amazing. The growth, like, and the character growth between the two of them.
Yeah.
But it is like a perfect mix of non-romance. Like, there's another entire plot that is so important, and it is just her and what she's doing.
Mhm.
But then the romance is equally important and is equally fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So we read The Girl with the Stars in Her Eyes. And one of the other reasons we read this book is because the second book, Girls with Bad Reputations, is coming out this month too, which I want to read, obviously.
It's already I think it's already out as of
okay. Like the 4th?
This dropping.
Nice.
Yeah, something like that. You keep talking, I'll look it up.
Okay. So, yeah, that's going to come out later this month. And I fell in love with every single one of these characters. And book 2 is about the drummer. When they're on tour. Kayla. Yeah. Get stoked. So, okay, we open and in the prologue, it's in the Way, Way Back machine. And we meet Antonia, who is 12 years old. It's her 12th birthday. And she's so excited because she's like, I bet my mom's going to have some kind of birthday surprise for me. And that is because she's a sweet, sweet baby angel who can still have optimism in her heart, even though her mother has not shown her a single day in her life that she would do something like have a birthday surprise ready for her.
Oh my God. That was like, and so like we learn more about this birthday.
Yeah.
As the book goes on, and it just gets worse. And worse and worse.
Yeah. So her mom is a blues jazz singer. Yeah.
The second book is a birthday present to me because it comes out the day before my birthday.
Tell us the
I will
date.
be reading it that weekend, February 6th.
Yeah. All right.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. So her mom is like a blues jazz singer, and she never gets to go to her gigs with her. She's always going to Aunt Dot or like some other,
who are
person.
Definitely not actual family.
No.
They are owners of the, like, some of the clubs and lounges that she sings at.
Yeah. And when they're out and about, Antonia is not allowed to call her mom.
She has to call her Mary.
She can only call her Mary because then maybe people will think they're sisters, not mom and daughter. Hey, Mary.
Well, because so Mary looks young and Antonia looks old for her age.
Maybe, yeah. I think that guy was like just a skis.
No, he was a skis, but like it's commented multiple times throughout the book that when she was younger, she came across older because she was tall.
Oh yeah, she's really tall.
And she's mature for her age.
She has to be mature. She's surviving on her own, basically. So her mom is pretty neglectful, and she's very, very self-focused, self-centered. So Antonia is so excited because she tells her that she can go to the gig with her tonight. Oh my God. She calls Antonia Sweet Potato. And
which is the cutest nickname.
I call Valor that. And now now I feel like a terrible mom because Mary is so terrible.
No, you are not a terrible mom. period. But I
God
just
damn it.
whimsied. And if I ever have children, I love the nickname Sweet Potato.
I mean, it's so cute. Anyway, so she like does the gig. She gets hit on by this really, really old guy
Antonia does.
Yeah.
Who is taking her mom to Atlantic City to perform at his casino or something like that.
Sure.
And guess what? That means that Mary is shipping Antonia off to the father she's never met.
Yep.
And she finds all of this out on her fucking 12th birthday.
Yeah.
Like she literally gives this kid a guitar and like $100 cash, sticks her on a Greyhound alone to a place that's like 150 miles away or some shit
It's
like
so
that or
far.
whatever.
It's so far
then-
and it's very rural.
And then she gets off the bus and has to get a taxi.
Yeah. And this is like, I cannot, like, I feel like we need to paint the picture. This is like coal mining Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Like past coal mining prime, you know, like past the boom.
This is like this is any small town where the main primary source of like
Jobs.
economic booms and jobs no longer exists. And
Yes.
so there's like the remnants of when this was a town, but like it's not, it's a sad place. And it said multiple times in the book how it's one of those kinds of places where you have to be real complacent to stay here.
Right.
But the problem is it's not just that you have to be complacent, it's hard. Places like that are hard as fuck to get back out of.
Yes.
Like once you're there, it's so hard to get out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, the fact that she kept on. So one of the things that a bunch of these characters talk about when they're talking about being between a rock and a hard place is Scylla and Charybdis.
Yes.
And that Charybdis monster is just like one of those towns, you know, like that imagery worked in so many different ways, being stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
Like
even without it explicitly being stated
Yeah.
between a rock and a hard place, there are so many times in this book where that's definitely a theme. Like being
Yes.
stuck between a rock and a hard place is a theme of this book.
Most definitely. And doing your best to like choose between
By
the
the
lesser
way-
of two evils.
Just letting you know, listener, do not go into this book if like boy, if you're struggling in certain types of ways, it's hard. Like if you feel like you're stuck. Actually, no, I'm going to say read this book.
No,
'cause
read it.
Like it's her doing her fucking damnedest and making it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's her
I just know-
grinding until
I just know that like there were a couple of points where when I was reading it, I was like, damn, I'm really glad that I am where I am right now reading this book, because there are times in my life where this would have been too hard of a book. Because to be clear, it's a heavy book. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's
Yeah.
uplifting, it's inspirational, but like fucking A is heavy.
See, it's funny. You latched on to like the being stuck part, and I latched
Mhm.
on to the parentified child part. That's where I got a little bit, got under my skin.
To be fair, that did also get under my skin.
Yeah.
But the stuck thing, definitely. I think part of it is I live in one of those towns right now.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I live in a town where, I mean, it's not the same town, right? There's a lot more going on. It's
Mhm.
I really like where I live, but it's definitely a place where the boom is long past.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's like memories of it everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
So
so
she gets in a taxi, and then she goes and finally gets there, and her dad owns like a little tavern, and he lives
dive bar.
above that, like, dive bar tavern, like you walk over it and the floor sticks a bit kind of place.
boy, I've spent a lot of hours in a place like
Right?
that.
Same. And when she's across the street, like trying to get up the gumption to go inside, she meets a kid named Sebastian Quigley.
Who is adorable. He's like a year and a half older than her. And he is very much like, who's this strange young girl that I've never seen before in this town? And
He calls her kid. It's like, hey,
uh-huh.
how you doing, kid? Who are you, kid?
You are also a kid, Sebastian.
Yeah,
To be clear.
What are you doing?
You are also a child.
She's 12. You're 13. Pull it together.
13 and a half.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're
that
right,
half
Sabrina.
is so important at that age.
Light years. Yeah. And he's got this dark hair and green eyes, and they like the same band, the same fictional band.
Mhm.
And it's fantastic. And I think
I'm glad you looked it up to find out whether or not that was a fictional band or
it
not.
was yeah, I had to because there were real bands
It's
and
referenced.
artists who were named as well. So it was a little confusing. But yeah, not
Boy, let me tell you, I've done a lot of musical things in my life,
Yeah.
and I have a lot of knowledge about music. I was so out of my league.
absolutely.
Like, holy shit. I was like, Zio has to have some inside information
I
and like
know.
knowledge. And like if you read her author's note, like, yes, that is accurate.
Yeah.
But I was like, I did not herbs, but I did definitely like kind of half skim some of the stuff because I was like, I don't know what any of this means.
Right. Yeah.
Apparently I didn't go listen to it because I just ran out of time, but she has Lily's songs
I knew it.
recorded
That's hot.
and up on the interwebs.
That's hot. All right, I'll try to
I
find that and put it
know.
in the show notes.
Fuck yeah.
Okay,
So
so now in
anyway,
chapter 1, we've gone years and years ahead. She's 24.
8 years.
Yes. She's living in Philadelphia. She goes by Tony now.
So she broke into the music scene a little bit, right? So she lives in Philadelphia now. She did make it out of Borden. That's the name of that town.
Mhm.
And she plays at the cutest fucking dive bar / venue at like
Mhm.
open mic. She is the resident musician at
Uh-huh.
a place called the Electric Unicorn.
Uh-huh.
And the owner is just this fucking
Elton, not
British-
John.
adore. I did not catch that his name. It didn't register.
His name is Elton. And then in
I
her
know.
phone, when he calls her one time, his name pops up as Elton, parentheses,
Not
not
John.
John. It's so good.
Okay. Well, okay, to be fair, that's important. Like, she's got to do that because her name, now that she
Yes.
goes by Tony, is Tony Bennett.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And like that's a choice she made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Well-
her name is Antonia. She's going by Tony now. But
And
we
learn
find out later.
that Sebastian calls her Nia.
Yeah.
He's the only one who's ever called her Nia.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what other nicknames you could get out of that name. Aunt?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no, I mean
Like,
but
Tony
choosing
makes sense.
Tony, yeah. And
Uh-huh.
like choosing Tony when your last name is Bennett and you're a musician
Uh-huh.
is a choice.
Yeah. Oh my God. And later in the book, her mom has a big old fuss about that. She's like, I would never have named my daughter after a boy's name. But how dare you? But oh my God. Her mom.
Not okay.
Her mom just gets worse and worse and worse the more
Yeah.
the book goes on.
Yeah.
So she's happy to be the resident musician at this tiny unknown place in Philadelphia
Mhm.
because she saw what the drive for fame did to her mom.
Mhm.
And so I ended up
Wants nothing
pulling
to do with it.
Yeah, so I pulled a quote from chapter 1
Yeah.
and but situations like this unnerved her because once she was under the lights, it was too easy to get caught up in it. Too easy to accept the adoration, even to expect it. Too easy to let the audience get under your skin and tear you down when things didn't go their way.
Mhm.
Which rereading that right now, knowing what happens in the rest of the
I
book is
know.
wowza. But she basically wants to be the antithesis of her mom.
She wants to
her mom-
produce. She wants to be like a session musician
Behind the scenes.
in
Mhm.
recording studios. It like it's sort of a hired gun for the people who perform on stage. Because
Mm-hmm.
she wants to stay private. She wants to have a low-key life and she wants to be the person behind the music. But she likes gigging at this thing because you need to get your face and music out there in order to get asked to be in recording sessions and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So
So
when her mom sent her away, she sent her with her old Gibson guitar and it's like worth a lot of money. Frankly,
Yeah,
I
it's like
can't.
$30,000.
Yeah, I can't believe Mary let
Let
her.
go of it in the
N-
first place.
Why she would even think of it, honestly. Like, it doesn't really
Well, I'll bet it
seem.
wasn't worth that much then.
I thought they said that around then it was worth like $20K when she took it.
Maybe Mary just didn't know. You're
You know
right,
what?
because Mo does comment on that.
No, you know what I think? I think that was Mary's way of being like, you can't say no. I'm giving you her room and board if you need it.
Oh, I think she even says that in the book.
Does she?
Yeah, like this is or Mo makes a comment. Mo is her dad, by the way.
Oh, he
Mo
says
makes
it's
a
my
comment
due.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he does take the
Woof.
guitar and he puts it in a case up on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't really let her touch it. And
Mhm.
it's apparently just like a dream to play.
Yeah, and now she plays on this like old thrift store guitar that she got, and she has a guitar strap that was given to her by Sebastian when they were teenagers.
Yeah, because they
Oh,
immediately became BFF.
mhm,
And they planned because he also was a musician. He was trying to be a musician as well. And so they would practice
mhm,
together a lot. Apparently he would give her wise words about how she is a black girl and someday she's going to be a black woman and so she has to be the
mhm,
best in the place. He doesn't say
mhm.
that explicitly, but he's like, you're a lady and so you need to be the best one or they're just going to write you off.
Yeah,
But
basically. Well,
yeah.
because she does stick out because she is aware that cute curvy girls are a dime a dozen in the
Oh my
music
god, I had
industry,
that highlighted.
but cute curvy black women who could play the guitar like Prince and knew the difference between Matchbox 20 and 21 Pilots, not so much.
Ooh. Who can play the guitar like Prince.
Uh-huh.
I love her. I love the
Yeah.
confidence that she has in her ability,
Music.
you know?
Well, and it's wild because that's really the only thing that she's
Yeah.
confident in is her
Yeah.
ability to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so Tony and Seb were supposed to get out of Borden together. They had like a
Mhm.
fund that they were putting money into. They were making plans about where they could go when they did leave
Mhm.
together and all the business.
They were planning from the get how they were getting it. Like the minute that they became friends, they were like, "We're doing this together."
Yeah. And Seb would have left a lot earlier, but he wanted to wait until she was 18 so that they didn't get in trouble.
Mhm.
Anyway, so now she's like, why am I thinking about Sebastian though? Like, he fucking left. He up and left and never
Mhm.
wanted to see me again. So, like, I'm just going to put him out of my mind.
Yeah. Well,
No. Except we got to
so
go to the
she
factory.
does with a PH,
Yeah.
which is a recording studio in Philadelphia, who she's become friends with the guy who is inheriting it from his dad. His
Yeah.
name is Richie. And he has offered her to buy in to be his partner.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a $50,000 buy-in.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do that, but I want it. This is my dream. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is everything. And
Yeah.
because she's a session recording, like she's a session musician at the studio
Yeah.
or at the factory pretty often.
Right. Well, and I mean, I will say Nia's fucking impressive because
Oh yeah.
she says, like, I don't want to dip into my savings, but that would only get me to like 10 or 15K. And can I just say that as an artist who is 24, to have like
Girl,
that much money put away,
I
I was
can't
just like,
even fucking
"Wha-
imagine.
holy fuck
I
balls. That's
that is
incredible.
that is definitely one more digit than I have ever had in a savings account.
That is
It's
a real serious reaction
wild.
to not having financial stability as a kid.
Yeah, that's definitely like she lives frugally.
Yeah.
To be clear, she lives extremely
Right
frugally.
now, she's renting her best friend's pull-out couch
Yes.
in her
And she's been
one-bedroom
there for
apartment.
years.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
So anyway, she's there right now in order to do a session recording for this guy called Jerry. And Jerry's the worst. And
Oh my god, he's such a
she,
fucking misogynistic prick.
yeah, old school, white dude, misogynist, terrible.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he doesn't like that she essentially shows him up because she has the ear of a fucking angel, and like she, oh my god, wow, so like I have a pretty good ear,
Mhm.
but like I was like salivating over the description of her ear because
Yeah.
she can just pick up anything in the middle of other things happening. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Like at one point they needed a violinist and the violinist wasn't showing up. And so she finally just
No.
got really fucking pissed. And so she walked over and she picked up a violin and she just started sort of picking at it and playing with it until she just played it. She was like, okay, I'm the violinist now too.
As somebody who
Yum.
just bought a fucking violin,
Yeah.
can I say that I felt so the level of envy that I was
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
reading about that made me want to die because to be clear, that is not the experience I'm having in my home.
Yeah. Well, and so she's in this weird position because again, one of the only things that she has like extreme confidence in is her musical ability and her ear. And like she knows that she's fantastic at other things and that she's real cute and all that, right? Like she doesn't have confidence issues, but this is something
Yeah.
that she's just like she knows in
Takes
her bones.
pride in.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, but as a session musician, you sort of have to like toe the line and like not piss off the talent. You know, they're your boss, really. But at the same time, she's like, I don't want my name attached to something that's shit. And one of the guitars is off. Like,
Yeah.
one of the guitars
And
is off.
Jerry ends up pitching a whole ass fit.
Yeah.
And saying, basically, you're fired. We're getting somebody else. And guess who walks in the door to replace her?
Holy
None
shit.
other than Sebastian Quigley.
Well, Sebastian Quick now.
Yes, but we don't know his name.
I know. Well, that was so funny though, because they were like, Quick's gonna be here soon. Like, you can go.
Mm-hmm.
And when she turns around, she has not seen this man in 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And all the blood drains out of his face, and he like kind of doesn't know what to do with himself. Mm-hmm. And she just like beats feet as fast as she can out of there.
And he chases her.
Follows her.
Yeah. To the cab, and he leaves her a business card on the seat. He's like, please, like, I would love to talk to you and catch up, because he obviously never got over the girl that he left in Borden.
Yeah, I know. This was
How did you feel? I was very curious. How did you feel about that whole everything?
I don't know
the reason
how to answer that without doing big spoilers.
Spoiling? Okay, we'll get there.
I will say that it was one of the only things that didn't quite track for me. You know, it was one of the only things in the book that I was like, I don't know that.
See, so one of the things I really liked about this book is how real these characters felt.
Oh, yeah.
And that tracked. I could see somebody doing exactly that thing.
Yeah, like being too ashamed to go back.
Yeah. And feeling like they're better off without you, kind of thing, because of these deep-seated things you have going on. Anyway, we'll get there.
I mean, okay, I think that would have I think the only reason it didn't track is because when he does see her, he's like on his knees immediately, being like, "Can I talk to you? Can we please, like, will you look at me?" And she's just like, "No, absolutely not."
So not in a heartless way, but part of me thinks that it's a little bit of a out of sight, out of mind thing. It's easy when you're not seeing them all the time to be like,
I see that.
Just kind of.
But then it all clicks when you are in their presence again.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that I gave that up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I can see that.
That's how I took it anyway.
Absolutely. So he puts his business card and she's like, you should go back in. Like, they're on the clock and I don't want you to make Richie look bad because you're out here trying to talk to me. And he's finally like, okay, all right, well, bye. And she's like, she gets in the cab and she's like, drive anywhere. I don't care. Wherever you can go, just go.
Yeah. And so she's in a mood, and then they're gone, and next chapter we get Sebastian's point of view. So this is a dual point of view, third person book. if that's something that matters to y'all.
Right.
But we're in Sebastian's point of view, and now we've started. So I think we've heard mention of the lilies before now. And
Elton talked to her being like, you're on par. Because he keeps on being like, you're better than this like small time gigging. You should not be the resident musician here. And she's like, don't talk bad about my bar. Like, I like this place. And he's like, no, I don't mean in a bad way. I'm just saying that, like, you could be the level of the Lilies. They're this new up and coming band with really, really talented people, especially their guitarist.
Yeah. And it's for women specifically.
Yes.
Doing like alt rock punk shit.
Yeah. And she's like, honestly, I think that there's somebody behind the guitar. Like, I don't think that her name is Candy. I don't think Candy is really shredding like that. And he's like, you don't know. So we find out that Sebastian is working with the Lilies.
He's the manager.
Yeah.
For them. He's the one who brought them together.
Right.
And then got them essentially their sign on with YMI, which is a super well-known recording group or whatever.
Yeah.
And we also find out that Sebastian, we're just going to kind of cruise through that. So, boy, Candy is...
I'm going to say a real hot take out loud right now. I don't like Candy.
Wow.
I know.
Really?
Brave
incredible.
Of me. I know.
So Candy is such and like we'll get into it more throughout the book.
She's a
but
piece of fucking work.
She is a piece of work, but I had so much pity and empathy for her, actually. Like,
that's very kind of you.
It's just I've known these people. You know what I mean? And in like like that self-destructive kind of and hell, I was self-destructive when I was younger. Like so like that's where the empathy comes from. And like
But Candy is an oil heiress. So she's always been rich and her family doesn't take her seriously, especially with her music.
Like I'm very curious. I wonder if she will ever come back.
I don't know.
Well, we can talk about
Do you want a second chance romance with someone?
Yeah, I
Me
do.
too.
I really do.
Me too.
So yeah. So Candy is fucking falling apart though. She like just to give you the quick rundown, she drinks too much, she parties too much, she's constantly high on drugs, she's doing all
constantly
sorts of
popping pills.
She's in the press for terrible reasons, and she thinks that it's good. She's of the opinion that any press is good press for the Lilies, whereas like everyone else is like, you need to fucking settle down, dude.
Yeah, and
like,
well, so when Sebastian brought them all together, he and Candy and Lily like sort of had this weird like where we get too drunk and we like fall asleep together kind of touchy-feely relationship. And then one day Candy was like, when are you gonna like shit or get off the pot? Like she was, when are you gonna stop this and fuck me? And so they did, but then right afterwards Seb was like, oh no, this is a really big mistake and we can't do this
they did
anymore.
it for a little bit, but then they stopped very, very quickly. But they're still pretending for the press that they're together.
Yeah, and more than that, he's sort of become her de facto babysitter because nobody can control her, but everybody's like, he's got the best chance of it. So tonight he is with her and it's like a really serious time to be babysitting her because the next day the Lilies have their like first big we've been signed with a record label showcase in front of a bunch of music promoters. And like they are the people who will get them on the radio and do all the bullshit. So they've got to be there and they've got to be there at like 10 or 11 a.m. And so he's like, we're cooling it tonight. And, we're not going to do anything big. And she's like, no, it's okay. I'm just going to like this teensy little birthday party with a really close friend. And it's going to be super chill. And he's like, I don't really even need to look at her to know that she's lying through her teeth.
Yeah. So they get up there to this bit like rich fancy person party. And so right before they get up there, I highlighted this because it was literally famous last words.
Yeah.
She's like, it's sweet the way you worry about me. And he says, I'm your friend. I'm only looking out for you. And she says, since I can't look out for myself, I don't need a nanny, Seb. I'm a grown up.
Yeah, you're not.
Candy girl. So they get up to that party and they go to get a drink off of a tray that people are serving. And she's like, no, don't get anything off of that tray because there's going to be something extra in those drinks. Go
Yeah.
straight to the bartender and have them mix you something.
She looks out for him. Like, she's like, there's going to
does.
be like ecstasy laced in there or something.
Yeah.
She also pops a pill right before they get in there.
And she immediately goes and starts partying with her quote unquote best friend, Naya.
Mm-hmm.
And he, because your phones are listening to you and the algorithm is listening, he gets a YouTube video of Tony that pops up on his phone.
Yeah.
And so he starts watching it, and without thinking, somebody walks by and they're like, would you like a glass of champagne, sir? And he says yes. And so he does take a glass of champagne, and then zippy zap, it's the next morning, and it's 3 p.m.
Next morning?
It's like, it's the next afternoon. He missed the showcase, but he was like, well, at least Candy should have gotten there.
Right.
Well,
I don't know why he would think that.
Seb, in what world?
Like, let's talk
did
about
Candy
wishful
go to the-
thinking.
No shit.
Oh my
He was
God.
definitely still rolling and on fucking drunk. Probably,
Absolutely.
to be thinking that.
Well, and it's so, sorry, I have to go back a tiny bit because one of my
Yeah, go
favorite
for it.
things about like them walking into the party and doing all of this is that he can't stop thinking about Tony. And so he's like,
Mhm.
Candy loves the paparazzi. Candy like loves the fame aspect of all of this. She loves the parties. She loves everything. And he's like, Tony would fucking hate this shit. And I kind of love that about her. And then he's like, get Tony out of your brain. Like, don't do it. And so then like his phone feeds in that thing and he's watching that YouTube video and he cannot hear the sound, everyone. The party is too loud for him to hear the sound of her singing.
Watching her on the stage.
Yeah. So when he wakes up the next morning, he's like covered in popcorn. His mouth is the Sahara. And he says, well, at least I'm in my own bed. That's really good. And at least I'm alone. At least I think so. And then he just yells, hello, out into his apartment.
Well, and then when he unlocks his phone, it's still on the YouTube video of Tony.
Uh-huh. And he was just being an absolute menace and shoving popcorn in his mouth while watching Tony. And this is when I started thinking about my Rogue tampon.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh, my God. I can already see where this is going. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Give me your version. Because I've already come up with the entire story in my head, and now I want to hear what yours is.
So I went out with my friends to a party, and there were like 4 of us girls who lived together. We all went out to the party. I did decide to imbibe some jungle juice. I don't know why I ever thought that was a good idea. It was one of those nights where like I had the jungle juice and then there's not much after that I remember.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next morning, I wake up in my bed. Thank you very much. I am just like it's the dry mouth. It's the like head pounding. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I squint open my eyes and I look up at the window and like my blinds are half cocked. Like they're like uneven. And then I try to, move around and then I realize that my spaghetti strap, like both straps are on one side of my head. And I just like, oh my God. And then I do the hello thing, but I live with 3 other people and nobody says a word. And so I've decided that like they hate me so much that they've moved
You
out.
did something
I have wrecked
unforgivable.
everything. Yeah. I did something terrible. It's awful. And then I go to the bathroom because I am on my period. And at that point I used tampons. So I go to the bathroom and I go to like do my business and I realize there's no tampon. Where could my tampon be? I had it with me. I had it in me when I was drinking that jungle juice.
You hella had it with you, yeah. In the safest place it could possibly be.
Just snuggled up there. And now it could be anywhere. So then my roommates get home. Turns out they didn't start moving out. They did just go get us bagels because they are beautiful angels. And I get
Perfect.
their side of the story where I'm just like a hot mess. I'm drunk off my ass. They can tell it's one of those nights where like you're not going to remember the morning or, you know, you're not going to remember. And like they had to, the reason my shirt was all askew is because they dressed me. And like by the time they got me in some like shorts and this spaghetti strap, they saw that it was on one side and they were just like, you know what? I can't
It's fine.
anymore. This has got to be good enough. And they put me to bed.
But did you ever find
I
out what
never
happened
found
to the
that tampon. No, I never found that tampon. It's still out there somewhere. I'm sure of it.
I mean,
It might have founded its own town by now.
at Borden
Yes.
has its own Pennsylvania coal mining.
I bet. Yeah.
It's just picking away at that mountain,
It's just-
hoping for.
It's just living its best life. I
Boy.
emancipated it on that day. And now it is using its liberty to its full potential, I think. It's just
That's
squishing
a nice
around.
dream. Squishing around.
Just squishing
That might
around
be
in the world.
That might be one of the worst things you've ever said to me.
Well, you know what? It turns out that they are actually the silent partner in Squelchers. Our company,
no.
Squelchers.
Nope. Did you say our
Yeah.
company?
Mhm, yeah, our company that you also
You know what?
work at.
I will buy into Squelchers before I will buy into Mel's Cunt Punch extravaganza.
Well, they're sister companies, so like I don't know what you want. Okay.
Oh my god. So
Sorry. So
They-
then he looks at all these texts, and Jordan, his best friend, and their like lawyer / actual manager, because Seb doesn't really manage anything. Seb is like, "Can I get you snacks? Do you need water?"
he is the soccer mom.
Yeah, he's the herder of cats.
Yes.
He sort of keeps
Which-
them alive,
Frankly,
and then
they need.
they need. Yeah.
Yes.
And then Jordan does all the like fancy contract stuff.
Yeah.
And so he has a ton of messages from Jordan. They start with him offering to get him coffee and they end with, "Where the fuck are you?" And then he has
Mhm.
one message from Lily, because I don't know if we told you this, but she is a Nordic queen.
Goddess.
Yeah, Nordic goddess. And all it says is, "I trusted you." Period. The
Yeah.
end.
It was awful.
Oh my god.
And just to give you some context, the band that they're in is called the Lilies after Lily Langland,
Yes.
which is the lead singer.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to meet them, but we're about to
Yeah,
meet
we're meeting them right now.
There's also Tiff, the bassist,
Mm-hmm.
Kayla, the drummer. I have a huge crush on Kayla.
Kayla's a freckled redhead.
And she is just so dry
Yeah.
and also constantly doing like flipping. I don't know what it
She's
is. Like
constantly
drummers are
doing that
so
drum thing.
sexy.
Uh-huh.
Like she got that drumstick and she just like does that finger thing.
Mhm.
And I'm
the muscle memory that takes is
I literally
very hot.
just got goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, and then Candy's the guitarist. So it's band meeting time.
Yes.
It's time to have a sit down. And he gets there and everybody is there and Candy is just lounging on the couch like nothing's a big deal, because as far as she's concerned, it's not a fucking big deal. And then it continues on and like they talk some
Mhm.
and then Lily essentially is like, "So Candy, you're fired."
I mean, and my thing is, okay. This
She
is
should have stayed
where-
fired.
Sure, but no. Like, my thing is, this is where my empathy evaporates.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to be a fuck up who acknowledges that you've disrespected everyone you know. And it's another thing to be a fuck up who says, right before Lily says this, she's like, "Can we just get this moving along?" And you tell me, like, "Candy, you have to change your ways," and like, whatever, because I have a spa appointment in an hour.
Yeah. So I agree. I did not start having empathy and like pity. Like, so I had like the supportive feelings that I had did not come back until the very, very, very end of the book when she has just fully
Imploded.
lost herself. Yeah. Like that's when it came back. That's when I was like, oh, this is like she's in a bad place. This girl needs like rehab and therapy.
No, she absolutely
And
does. I had
like
no
that's when it
feelings about
was
her though.
um
Yeah. You're a good
I think
person,
that
Sabrina.
well, I think part of it is also I really want her to go to rehab and therapy because I do want that second chance romance, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah, most
so anyway,
definitely.
she gets fired and they also modify Sebastian. They're like, you can stay, Sebastian, but we're
Mhm.
modifying your contract and there's a no fraternization clause and a one strike rule. So
Yep.
fuck up and you're out.
Yep.
Fuck up or fuck someone
Yes.
and you're out.
And he's like, "Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I
Yeah.
have another?" Like he's
Mhm.
all on board for this punishment. And they
Yeah.
decide that they have to have a closed audition to
Invite only.
invite only, yep, in order to not replace Candy, but get a guest guitarist until Candy is ready to come back.
Yeah.
And she tries to get Seb to like back her up on how ridiculous everybody is for doing this. And he's just like, no. She tries to flounce off and get Seb to come with her. And he's just like, absolutely not. Like he thinks
Yeah.
to himself, there's no way that I'll be able to smooth any of this over if I leave with her right now. I need to do this.
Needed Sebastian to stop enabling Candy so much earlier than he did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god, all of them except for Tiff. Tiff was very clear, or no,
Kayla was very clear.
Kayla was very clear. She was like, "I'm done with you. As far as I'm concerned, you're dead to me."
Yeah.
Like, and she sticks to that the entire fucking time.
It's great. Loving her.
Yeah.
So Sebastian's like, one of the people that I could invite is Tony, but like that would be really bad for me. And like, I don't even think she wants to be famous and like all the bullshit.
I was so mad at him.
I was livid with this.
Because he literally, well, so we'll get this. So we can kind of run along and get into this. So Lily gets a message from Elton, the owner of the Electric Unicorn.
No.
Sorry,
Tony. You said Lily. Tony gets a message from Elton.
Tony gets, yes. And the message is, you have been invited to an audition for the Lilies.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck? And then, my God, you want to talk about one of the best fucking characters in this book?
Yeah.
Yvette, her best goddamn friend.
Uh-huh.
She goes home to Yvette and they are talking about it. And Yvette is like, fucking do it. Or at the very least, call and find out what's going on.
And she's really worried because she thinks that they're based in California. And so she's like, I don't have the money, especially if I want to try to buy in for the factory. Like, I don't have the money to fly out to California for like this pipe dream that I don't really even necessarily want very much. And Yvette's like, just go. Like, at least call them.
I will pay for you to go out there.
Yeah.
Like,
and you can pay me back.
And then Tony still says no. And so Yvette takes her fucking phone and calls that number.
Mm-hmm.
And then, long story short, after talking on the phone, she finds out that it's actually New York City where she has to be by Friday at 10 a.m.
By Friday.
She says yes.
Yes. So anyway, he meanwhile is still debating about whether or not he should call her. And then Candy says that she wants to come to the audition because if she's really coming back to our little family, she says, then I should be able to help pick my step-sibling. And he's like, okay, sure, man. Like, we could make that work.
Mm-hmm. But then he does end up convincing her that she should give them some space, supposedly. Supposedly he convinces her. But he doesn't think that she means it when she says that, like, she's like, we're gonna do this for now, and then I'm gonna shape up and we'll be better. And it is so clear at the end of this chapter that she is manipulating him.
Oh, for sure. That's also where
Like,
my empathy ends. The fact that both she and Tony's mom can be like, look at the tears welling in my puppy
look at my
eyes.
crocodile tears.
And then the
like,
moment somebody says no, they immediately snap out of it and they're like, well, blah, 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 blah. Like that's, ooh, it's so much. But the other thing is, he literally says to her, like, the way that you're talking right now, what you're saying is you just want to shape up now and like placate them, but not actually change anything for the long haul.
yeah.
And she's like, it'll be fine. It'll be totally fine. But
Mhm.
now we're at the audition.
Oh, by the way, Tony has started dreaming about Sebastian again for the first time in a year. And in her dreams, they kiss.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. And then she's at the fucking audition. And I'm really hoping that one of the people that we meet in the waiting room
Is it
for the
Zeph?
audition, named Zeph,
Yeah.
the fantastic non-binary guitar player who doesn't say a single word to anybody, but on their
Until
fucking way out, as the second to last auditionee, they say, "Don't let them get to you." They said in a voice that was mostly a purr. "Go in, play for your life, and be grateful for the moment. Let that nervous energy move through you. Don't try to force it away. Use it."
this is apropos of nothing. Like they're basically
Uh-huh.
passing by each other in order for her to go into the audition. And Zeph just out of nowhere comes out with this sage inspiration for her and like this coaching
Oh.
moment being like, you can do
I-
this. This person doesn't know Tony at all.
It's been a while since I've been so immediately into
Yeah.
a fucking character that we only see like on page for like 2.5 pages.
Truly. Yeah. So anyway, she goes in and both Seb and Candy are not there yet. Which, like, how is this not a strike? Question mark. How is this not being late to the audition, Seb? I don't know.
I also had the same question.
Yeah, like what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and she's just crushing it. Like
Yeah.
even Kayla and Tiff are like, wow, like in the tiny recording room.
I love Kayla and Tiff so much.
I
And it
know.
was so like, and the thing that gets me is like Tony was so uncomfortable at first because it's just dead silent in that room.
Yeah.
Nobody even greets her. And she's like, do I need to introduce myself? And the guy who's helping her set up, he's like, they know exactly who you are.
Yeah.
And it's just like this whole thing. And like but then she fucking starts playing and she gets in the zone and just, oh my God. And then Sebastian gets to the studio and he sees
Guess who's right behind
Candy
him?
walking up.
And like they've
Wow,
already
how
talked to Candy
convenient.
about being like more subtle, like low key. And instead,
Mhm.
like maybe come in the side door, Candy. And instead she
Yeah.
rolls up to the front in like a giant black Escalade with her whole entourage. And he's just like, I don't understand.
In a sling.
In a bedazzled sling. A bedazzled pink cheetah print sling.
And the bedazzle is her name.
It's her name. Everybody knows your name, Candy. I can't with you. I can't. Anyway, they go in and like even Candy is impressed. Like very obviously impressed. And he's just standing back there being like, holy fuck. She has gotten so much better than even she was when like we were back in Borden. Like she's so obviously
Guess what,
worked on her
Sebastian?
craft.
It's been 8 years.
Yeah, right.
Of fucking course she has.
Oh my God. Yeah, and he's like, after that performance, she's got to be on the short list. And when they go up, like after she's done, he goes up too, and she sees him and like stiffens, and then she says, "Nice to meet you." And he's like, "Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too." And he like doesn't know what to do with himself. And then of course, he fucking follows her out again.
He has an MO, but he does convince her to talk to him for a minute this time. And so they go into a spare room.
Mhm.
And she is like, she's having none of his shit.
No.
She's like, no. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Like, you
No.
fucked me over, dude.
You don't deserve
Like
my time.
Mhm.
You ceded my time when you
Uh-huh.
abandoned me. Like, we're
Yeah.
not doing this.
Well, and she immediately makes a connection in her head that
Mm.
Sebastian is there. She's like, "Oh my fucking god. He saw me 3 days ago, and now magically I have an audition with the Lilies.
Yeah.
He works for them. Obviously, he got me the audition. This is a hell of an apology, but still fuck him."
Yeah. She's
Like
like, I don't want to be here because he feels guilty about something he did when we were children. That's
Mhm.
bullshit. I should be here on my own merits. And he's like, I didn't. I had no idea you were going to be here today. And she's like, okay, sure, man.
Mhm.
So then she goes home and has happy hour with Yvette. And Yvette's like trying to be like her pump up wingman. You know, she's just like,
Mhm.
you should take it. When they offer it to you, you should take it. If for no other reason than
Mhm.
like the money you'll make while you're there. And then she says like, oh, and then Richie comes up. This was very important to me because Richie
Mhm.
is an absolute dreamboat.
Oh my
He is a
god.
respectful king.
I want that novella.
I want that novella hard.
Yeah.
Zio Axelrod, if you are taking requests, I would love that novella.
We have a small request, which is the novella of the couple that shall not be named until the very, very end in the epilogue.
That has to be a novel
And we
though,
also
right?
have we also have a very, very no, we're not gonna ask for a novel of that because we have a very large request.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that is for the second chance romance that we both desperately want and need.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were asking for that first. And I was like, that should be a
No,
novel
no, no,
though.
no. We want the novella. We're
Yeah.
gonna ask small for that.
Yeah. But then that second
But
chance
then
romance could be hot. Okay, anyway, so Richie
So,
comes in
yeah.
and he's like, have you come up with 30K more? Just out of curiosity.
Well, because he doesn't know exactly how much she needs, but this is when Yvette finds out that she has to get 50K
Yeah.
for this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, holy shit. And then Yvette
Mm-hmm.
and Tony are noodling and they're like, you could sell Minx.
Minx
Minx
is
is
the
the name
Gibson
of
guitar.
that. Uh-huh. Wow. Like, and Tony is noodling. She's
Tony's
like,
like, my
I don't know
parents
if I
haven't done anything
can.
else for me. Like, it would
Uh-huh.
be really hard and it would be really emotional to do because it's always been like my dream to play that guitar. But
Well,
could
zippy zap.
maybe wait, but first, this was the part that was important to me. Right before
Oh,
the
okay.
end of this scene, before Richie goes, he pulls out a business card and he slides it over to Yvette and he says, my cell phone's on there. Use it if you want. No pressure. With like a wolfish grin. And then he walks out.
Mm,
Yvette
yeah,
and Richie would be the cutest couple in the land. And I want their
I
novella.
know.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Zio Axelrod. I know you're busy, but just noodle on it, you know?
Yeah, just
But
take some
zippy zap,
time.
you're right.
Yeah, so zippy zap, we are on our way to Borden. Tony's going to get that fucking guitar, and she gets there
Mm-hmm.
and walks into the bar. And Mo, this is the first time they've seen each other in years.
5 years, 4 years.
Yeah, since she left town.
Mhm.
Because, like, and so we'll go ahead and let you know now. She, because of what happened with Sebastian, so just gonna give you some context.
Yeah.
When Sebastian left, they had been saving money. They had a couple $1,000
Mhm.
saved. And when he left, he took half of it. But so she gets there and she basically tells Mo, I'm here for the guitar. And he puts up a fuss about it and is like, it's my due. How could you? But then he does climb up and get that guitar down. But before he gives it to her, he sits down and plays it like
Like,
a champ.
beautifully, like,
Oh,
nimble fingers.
uh
And she's like,
huh.
I didn't even know you played. And he says,
Uh huh.
girl, what you don't know about your mom and I could fill a church. And it was
He says that
so,
multiple
yeah, he says
times.
it twice in the book. And like,
Mhm.
that makes me so sad.
Because, like, we learn throughout the book, they just don't, they do not have a good relationship. Like, they they never talked.
Mo wanted
She
nothing to do with her.
Uh-huh. And like she
Oh.
had to work to feed herself.
Yeah,
And
she says that Mo made it very, very clear that she was a drain on his resources when she got
oh
there.
God. What
And
a
like,
terrible way to feel as a child.
I
Like,
know. I know. And so she was not only working at the bar to like, you know, help out and like pay her way that way, but then if she wanted anything like clothes or tampons or, you know, food that wasn't deep fried at Mo's Tavern, then she got another side job in order to do that, all while going to school as well. And like when she asks for a Coke when she gets there, and she immediately pulls out $1 because even a Coke isn't free. And then he picks it
Yeah.
up and he says, it's $1.50 now. And
oh
like,
God.
it's God. And so the only reason that he actually acquiesces is because a longtime waitress is like, hey, you've been kind of shitty her whole life. I feel like this is one thing you could do for her. Because especially since Tony says, he says, you're not going to sell it. And he's like, is that why you're here? You want the money? And she's like, nope, want it for a gig. I just want to play it. Just want to play it. And she's like, it's not a lie. Like, I do want to play it.
I don't want to sell it.
And I also don't want to sell it. Yeah. Like, I could
Yeah.
play it before I very begrudgingly sell it. Oh.
Uh-huh. And then she starts to say something to him. Oh my God. She also like, there's comments throughout the book of like, I don't even know that you're mine. And like your mom's a slut.
Yeah.
And so at least you come by it honestly. I wanted to punch him in the face so fucking hard.
I know. I know.
And when she leaves, she starts to say something. She's like, hey, Mo. And he turns and looks at her. And then she just turns around and walks out.
Yeah.
It was heart-wrenching.
Devastating. Yeah.
So, zippy zap. Sebastian and Candy. Sebastian agrees to meet with her in public somewhere. Turns out, the only reason that she did
with this woman. I can't.
is
I hate
she
her.
wanted to be seen with Sebastian, with the the paparazzi to see them, so that it's clear that she still has a connection to the fucking band. She literally, word for word, get ready, y'all, because I had to highlight this.
Tell them, Sabrina.
He says, what is your obsession with being splashed all over page 6? Oh, Seb, haven't I taught you anything about how this works? Candy dropped the sugary tone from her voice. You're here. This way, they'll know I'm not completely cut off from my girls. So, you're using me? He stated flatly. Surprised. Well, that wasn't flat, but whatever. He stated flatly, surprised at how unfazed he was by the concept. Candy's eyes twinkled. Aren't I always? Oh, Candy!
I mean, that's the thing, though. Like, when people tell you who they are, believe them.
Listen!
Sebastian.
Christ!
This
Like, do
woman
we need to fucking... Do I need to get a skywriter?
It's bananas to me. It's bananas. And, like, we find out later that he does all of this because, like, she reminds him of him. But, like, she shouldn't, Sebastian. And this is a commentary on your self-worth and self-esteem. And not on Candy's goodness. These two things are not like the other.
To be clear, I did not take that as he thinks that she's good.
No, he does. No, you're right. No, you're totally right.
But he knows.
But he thinks that like she's redeemable.
Well, we're both kind of hoping that she's redeemable.
Who?
For that second chance.
Oh, she's going to have to prove a lot to me.
Yeah.
Before I can say that she's redeemable.
Well, and then Sebastian fucking caves, though. And he's like, oh my... So she fucking... You want to hear the most egregious thing Candy does in this entire fucking book?
Tell me. I have a feeling it's going to be a hot take.
She takes her shoe off and then rubs the inside of his thigh foot where the paparazzi can see them.
Mm-hmm.
Madam.
How
put the dogs away. How dare you? What the fuck? That would be it. I'm a Sebastian.
Would be over for you?
I would be a Sebastian. I am a Sebastian. in this sense. Like, I will fucking give people chances over and over and over and
Oh
over and
yeah.
over
Oh
again.
yeah. That's part of
And
our
like
Swiss
I
cheese
will
memories.
oh, no joke. But then that person I keep giving the chances pulls their little toesy woesies
Oh,
out of their shoe
last straw.
and they fucking start toeing around in my crotch. I'm fucking out. I'm done. Fuck you and your bullshit. I'm gone, Candy.
Incredible. Yeah. No, I hear that. Done with it, she says.
Oh
Some
God,
of it
that's
done
the
with
straw.
you.
Oh boy. So anyway, he doesn't do that because he doesn't have the same problem with toesy woesies that I do.
Right.
And he does agree to try and smooth the way for her. And I was so fucking annoyed at both of them at this point that I wanted to
Mhm.
scream.
Yeah.
So, zippy zap, we are at Kayla's apartment. And Kayla apparently is the only one who doesn't live in the city. And everyone's like, why wouldn't you live in the city? And then they go to her apartment and they're like, oh my God, $2,500 gets you this?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
why.
Gets you slightly
why.
larger than a postage stamp. Because, like,
Yeah.
let's be clear. $2,500 is still not great. What you're getting is
That was
not
my
great,
thought.
even in
Yeah,
Jersey.
it's not great. Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
it's going to be way bigger. You're not sharing a studio with 7 people.
Uh-huh. And even Candy's there. They're making decisions about the guitarist and things like that. By
Mhm.
the way, throughout this book, we keep having flashbacks to Sebastian and Tony as youths.
Yeah. And
And
it's
it's super cute.
beautiful.
Yeah, like seeing their like it was put in so masterfully. Like
Mhm.
she did such a great job at picking and choosing what scenes of their past to share.
Most
And
definitely.
I loved that they weren't long. Cause like I feel like flashbacks are always super fucking long and there's so much exposition and so
Mhm.
much like and I love that Zio just let these short snippet scenes, because to be clear, they're
They're
not longer than like
flashes.
yeah, they are. It is in the word, Melody.
They're
Flash back.
Yeah, but it's also like it's also like in length. It's a flash. It's great. And
That's what I'm
I
saying.
Yeah, I
and
know.
as it should be.
Yeah,
That's
and
that's my actual hot take.
ooh,
That's my actual hot take. This
flashbacks
episode.
should be a
Flashbacks
flash.
should be short.
Yeah,
I don't need all the fucking exposition.
yeah.
Like, oh God, I'm so tired of a 15-page flashback.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing that I
Anyway.
really, really liked is that all of the flashbacks gave you a lot of background and texture of their relationship without being like pigeonholy. You know, like none of them are like, here's what happened in real life, and this flashes back to an exact thing that applies
That's
from
what I
behind the
mean
back.
by
Yeah.
exposition and like
Yeah.
all of that or not exposition, but like pigeonhole. That's a great way to say it. Also,
Yeah.
texture. What a good descriptor
Oh.
for that.
Oh, thanks.
That is such a great way to describe this book because like you know how some books it's like touching a mirror. You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and it's fun.
Yeah.
Like those are I love those books, but this was like curling up in a fucking blanket that your grandma crocheted you.
Oh.
And it's gigantic and it's so heavy because she used the cheapest worsted weight fucking Red Heart from the 70s.
And it's so
And it's
old that some of it is
chunky.
like gritty and scratchy, but other parts are like nice and soft.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
exactly. And like some parts, like it clearly started to unravel because
Yeah.
the thread or the yarn broke, and there's like you had to tie a knot to keep it together.
Uh-huh.
Like that's what reading this book is like in the best kind of way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I'm with you.
Boy. So anyway, they flashback and that's the end of my talk about flashbacks actually because we don't that's the thing is we don't need to talk about those flashbacks because it's not any kind of direct correlation. It just gives
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
it just gives you enough to get the vibe
Right.
of their time growing up together
Yeah.
and how they were obviously madly in love with each other.
Honestly.
Their entire fucking youths.
But like, thank God they never kissed, you know? Thank
My
God.
favorite thing is that they never got together.
I know. Me too.
I fucking love that.
Me too.
So they end up going with Tony unsurprisingly. I think we're all shocked by that.
Wait, I'm so sorry. We do have to talk about this flashback because it is directly applicable to the future. Or like
Yes.
to how things have like changed.
Well, I mean,
Because in this flashback, Sebastian is being like, it's going to be different when we're famous. And she's saying, I don't want to be famous. I want to be the person behind the scenes. And like, he's the one who wants to be famous. He's the one who wants to be on stage.
well,
And
and
now-
hilariously.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Yeah, because we didn't say this, but he's a songwriter, essentially. He's a session guitarist. He comes in occasionally for the Lilies for some things. He writes music, like songs for other people. He's not in the limelight.
Right.
Like,
And so now they want Tony, and Sebastian is sitting there being like, this is kind of her worst nightmare, but it's also an incredible opportunity for her career. And this was really shitty. And I had a very hard time, and I almost punched him in his fictional face because he doesn't want to give away that they know each other or that she was important to him at some point or whatever, partially because of this no fraternization clause. And
because he knows he's going to want to stick it in.
I mean, yeah. And so he is like sort of being like devil's advocate about choosing Tony, being like, she might not, she's experience aside, she might not be emotionally mature enough.
He had to redeem himself. To be clear, he did redeem himself.
He
to me.
does.
But wow, he had to do some serious I needed a serious redemption arc for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And even as he's saying it, he's like, as soon as the words were out of my mouth, I wanted to take them back, and I knew how shitty and selfish they were.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, it's just it's so much. But now she gets a call back from Johnny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Johnny? Yeah.
Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan. She gets a call from Jordan, and he's like, hey, we want you, and I really don't want to deal with this bullshit anymore. And so I would just like to drop $5,000 a week at your feet, or $5 a week at your feet, or something like that, in order to get you to go. And she's like, $500 a week? And he's like, no, $5,000 a week for 6 weeks, and it might extend from there.
Yeah.
But
you'll get at least 6 weeks. No matter what.
And you need to be ready for a showcase in 3. And she's like, wait a second. If the showcase is in 3, why am I contracted for 6 weeks? And he's like, let's just call it insurance. That's all. Insurance.
And she realizes that with this gig, she doesn't have to sell Minx, because she was already trying to figure out what she was going to do about guitars, because she can't play for the Lilies on that shitty little thrift store guitar that she has.
No.
But guess what? Now she doesn't have to. She's going to play on a vintage Gibson named Minx.
Yeah. There was a big piece, like self-employed Melody, really reared her ugly head right now, though, because she was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting exactly $30,000. And so I have exactly the amount of money I need to buy into this thing. And I was like, not after taxes. You gotta factor in taxes.
After
expenses.
She has to pay for her own food and hotel. Like, that's coming out of the $5,000.
Yeah.
Like, ma'am, you're getting like
2,500
maybe.
Yeah. Like $20,000
a month or a week.
Yeah. Like wow. Especially, I'm so sorry. You're totally right. Because at a Fairfield Inn, like a Midtown Fairfield Inn, she would be paying minimum $209 a night, 7 days a week for the entire 6 weeks. That's a chunk of change coming right out of that $30,000. Like, I was like, you don't. It's not. Like, we need 8 weeks minimum.
At most, you are getting $15,000, my dear. Like, after taxes. And guess what? You're not going to see any of that on your tax refund. So,
I mean, and like I've done this before. It's not great. Like, you sort of use the money you need, and then you worry about the tax man later. But like,
oh yeah, do you know how fucked she would have been?
Oh my God. If she
when if this had like if she if
Mhm.
I would boy she
if
would have been
things didn't
struggling
turn out
when
the way they did.
yeah
Yeah.
because she would have spent all that money. Well, maybe not. Okay, so in theory, in reality, she would have bought in to factory and then started making money from factory. So she may have been okay when the tax man came
Yeah.
for his due.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry, everyone.
that's
That was Tax
where
Times with Melody and
we're
Sabrina.
knowledgeable
We're big girls.
about things. We
Tell
know
you
how
that.
taxes work.
Oh, yeah.
Except I've already said live on podcast that
I don't know how they work. I just know I owe them. And other people tell me how much I owe.
And 1000%, I probably fuck them up in favor of the IRS
Every time. Every time.
Like, if I ever get audited by the IRS, they're gonna be like, don't call her. Because
Don't.
we owe her money.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
anyway.
now she's like, oh my God, Sebastian did this. I can't believe that he did this. And now they're choosing me.
And I was so mad because I knew that he'd done
Yeah.
the opposite.
I know. And like at the very end, like near the end, when she finds out that it actually wasn't Sebastian and he wasn't lying to her, because he flat out is like, I had nothing to do with this. She says she feels like a little bit let down, and I understand that. But like, how would she have felt if she knew he had like?
It was a pity, like, or an apology.
No, I'm saying, how would she feel if she knew that Sebastian like kind of low key tried to torpedo it for her? Like, shit. Yeah.
Yeah. No shit. Were you okay? So I do have to ask. Did
Yeah.
you Sherlock Holmes who called for her?
I didn't.
I didn't either. I had no fucking idea.
I also didn't really worry about it too much. I was like, somebody saw her on YouTube. I don't know.
I thought about it constantly.
Did you?
I was like, who the fuck called for her?
For the record, I love who did. Love that.
Same.
That was a twisteroo.
This was such a small scene, but I do have to bring it up because it was fucking incredible. Jordan, when she gets up there, because she goes up the next day.
Yeah.
Jordan gives her a very important lesson in contracts. And partially I want to bring it up because, listener, read your fucking contracts.
Yeah.
He hands her a contract and explains everything that's in it. And then she just picks up a pen and she's like, okay, where do I sign? And he's like, never fucking do that ever again. And she's like, do what? And he's like, sign anything without reading it front to back. And she's like, what are you talking about? He was like, this contract is from a lighting company that I contracted with last year. And she's like,
yeah. And then she's like, oh, well, you seem legit. And he's like, the prettiest snakes are often the most dangerous. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's there, and like immediately they go to Lily's house because the band is having like an impromptu get together. Lily has made chicken and dumplings.
Can I tell you one of the most beautiful things in the whole world?
Yeah.
I'm super busy over the next month, right? Like,
Yeah,
I literally
you are.
am struggling to find time to do things
Anything
that are necessary to live, right? Part of me feels a little bit like I have to like schedule pee times. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
One of my friends, the friend who came and took care of me during concussion in the middle of the night. We were talking last night. I was talking because I was like, I'm just not gonna be able to do anything with you for basically all of February, unfortunately, because I'm just balls to the wall, slam busy. And she said that she's gonna make me some food to make sure that I eat while
like
I'm
a casserole style
busy.
food.
And so she's gonna make chicken and dumplings and bring me some. And that was after reading this and thinking to myself how much I want chicken and dumplings. And then she was like, how do you like chicken and dumplings? And I was like, Madam,
stop talking dirty to me.
I know. I've never been more hungered on.
Sweet. Yeah. No. That's so sweet.
Oh, God.
I'm so glad you found
reiterate
her and everybody else.
Get a community, my friend. If you are lonely, find people. Like, it might take a while, but when you finally find them, it's going to be so fucking worth it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh God. Anyway, so they end up kind of doing like a little half practice and like getting the
And
vibe of
Candy
things.
comes and she says, I'm going to
Oh
help
God.
you
Of fucking course she
learn.
does. Because she can't keep her thumb out of the pie.
Well, and she wants to stay relevant to the band,
Yes.
you know? And so there's a moment when they're talking about women in the music industry and like how people like need you to stay in your lane or whatever. And Candy pipes in to be like, yeah, stay in your lane. And she's like, oh, I feel like that's less a commentary on the conversation and a little bit more a message directly for me. Like, oh no.
So I do want to say, and I know that you're going to be like, no, fuck Candy in every single way possible, but
How
I am
dare
going to
you?
say, this is Dark Lover all over again.
Ooh.
So where you just hate this thing. And I'm like, well, hang on. The only difference is that I read that in 2024 instead of 2007.
Totally.
Or read anyway, whatever. You get the point. I loved that Candy never did anything that was actively sabotaging to Tony.
Oh, I'm with you. I was shocked.
I was too, because I even made a note way earlier. I was like, I do not like. I'm so concerned that Candy's just gonna sabotage the shit out of Tony.
Yeah.
I love that all of Candy's sabotage is basically to herself and because like that's who that person, that is how that would go with a person like that, right? Like struggling in that way.
Yeah.
Well, like just Candy as a person, she's not that's the thing, is she's not evil, she's not malicious, she's just fucking,
she's just a mess and very entitled.
God.
And it's not great. One thing I will say is that I was shocked about this simply because she is so manipulative on the page several different times.
Yeah.
And I thought that she would
even says
try
it out loud.
Yeah. I thought that she would either try to sabotage Tony with the band or at the very least try to sabotage Tony with Sebastian. And she didn't do either of those things.
She does.
Not
she
really.
She does try to sabotage Tony with Sebastian.
No. She just
at the taco place?
She just clings to him. She doesn't like go to Tony and tell her like fucked up stories.
Oh, okay. I guess that's accurate. But like
she doesn't do any of that.
She did know what she was doing.
Of course.
In that instance.
Of course. Yeah. But it just didn't come across as like, I don't know, aggressive.
Yeah.
You know?
It wasn't, no, I would agree with you. That's the thing. Okay, so that is the thing that, again, I know I've said this a couple of different times, but just another facet of this diamond that is the girl with stars in her eyes. All of these characters, there's no black and white, except for I can think of one character that there's a black and white.
Is it Kayla because she's awesome?
No. Black and white, he is evil. And it's Andre.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But, like, all of these they are not characters. These are people.
Yeah.
That we have just been dropped into their life. Like, I love character development. I love a person that feels like a character that feels like a person. But it's been a while since I read something that was so viscerally. I know this exact, like,
I've met this person.
The good, the bad, and the ugly about this person. Like, none of these people are perfect. None of these people are perfect.
No.
Except Tiff and Kayla. Yeah.
And even they're kind of shitty to each other sometimes in like the most sisterly way.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Zio.
Yeah. So after they have this whole, like, they eat together, they talk together, she notices that Lily is very remote. Like, she's a little bit cold. And when she looks at Tony, she doesn't really like when they're jamming, she doesn't look at her. She looks at her hands specifically, like how she's playing the guitar the whole time. And she and Candy, like, actually, Candy does, like, coach her through a few things and show her, different chord progressions that she couldn't get by ear, like the two that she couldn't get by just listening to the music.
Oh my God, how dare she?
I know, right? And then Seb shows up and Jordan asks him to drive Tony home because he wants to go on a date.
He is the most adorable bisexual British man.
He's so
this
cute.
Was I'm so fucking delighted. I want his novella too.
I would love a
Zio,
novella.
I have another little request for you.
Yes,
Just
please.
Throwing it out there. So Sebastian says yes.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I get her alone in the car and I get to finally be alone with her and talk to her.
Right.
Of course, Candy's also coming now. She's also getting a ride. He drops Candy off first because, frankly, it makes more sense. But also because
he doesn't want to be alone with Candy.
I need to be alone. I need to be alone with...
want to be. And, like, apparently the whole time that he's driving them home, Candy's like, I don't understand why you're going this way. Like, it makes sense to drop her off first and me after. And he's like, nah, not when you look at it from this very specific perspective where I want to be alone with her and not you. And then after they drop her off, he's like, are you going to get in the front seat? And she's like, oh, yes, please read it.
It's so funny. He checked the rear view again, perplexed. Aren't you going to move up here? Tony met his eyes in the mirror. Wasn't planning on it. Seb sighed and turned around to face her. Really? She looked pointedly out the window. I'm comfortable here. And he finally does convince her to get in the front seat. Yeah. So he's not just straight up chauffeuring her around.
But as they're driving, she's like, can you drive and talk? Because, like, I'm exhausted. And he's like, no, I actually can't. And then he does try. And then they're very quiet. And she keeps on looking over at him. And finally, after a couple of very awkward minutes, because P.S., now he's taking the scenic route to her hotel, which is, like, fucking rude. But he has a captive audience. So she is looking over at him. And finally, he's like, what? And she says, you orchestrated this thing where you could get me alone to talk to me, and you're not saying much. And he's like, I know, I don't know how to make words. I'm early in the book, Sebastian. I haven't learned.
I wish you could have just seen Mel's face.
Oh no, I don't have the emotional capacity to communicate all the feelings I'm feeling. I'm drowning in my feelings, he says. How can I possibly?
This is all quote. This is word for word, by the way.
Yeah.
Listener.
Yeah. I basically narrated this audiobook, okay?
Yeah.
I was Sebastian in the audiobook.
Yeah. So that's it, listener. He drops her off at the hotel.
He does say, I'm sorry, right? He says, I'm so damn sorry.
Also, he starts to tell her, but then he can't bring himself to actually say why he left or any of that, which is like, he knows he has to tell her in order to adequately apologize. But he can't get it out. And this is when I started to get the feeling something really bad happened. Like,
yeah, something catastrophic happened that night. Because he keeps on saying, I had to get away that night.
Yeah. But then we don't find out about it. And we fully get blue ballsed about it. And,
wait, and then
guess what, listener?
I have a question. I think this is when she says, like, so he says, I'm so damn sorry. She says, for what? And he says, for leaving, for not, coming back, for, all the things. And then I think she asks him, why did you only take half the money? Or is that later? I think it's now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
she says,
right
why
now.
did you only take half the money? Like, you put 2/3 of it in. You could have taken that. You could have taken all of it. And he says, well, I couldn't leave you with nothing. And then she says, but you did, Seb. You did leave me with nothing. And then she gets out of the car and fucking mic drops and just like catch my farts into that Fairfield Inn.
And guess what, listener? Catch our farts.
Catch our farts. We got to go.
That's the end of this episode.
Hey, Sabrina, what's your lady love?
My lady love is go to the fucking doctor.
Ooh.
If you think that there's something up, even if you think you know what the problem is,
Right.
go to the fucking doctor. Because I
Mhm.
thought I knew what the problem was, and boy howdy,
She did.
I was wrong as fuck. And guess
Yeah.
what? Your doctor can help you. And on top of that, if the doctor does not listen to you, this is just advice from the last couple of years of my life. If the
Mhm.
doctor either doesn't listen to you or can't help you, fucking get a recommendation somewhere else or find someone new. Like do
Totally.
not if you need medical care and this is a very privileged thing that I'm saying right now. Like I'm aware of that, right? Like I have
Right.
good health insurance. So like
Mhm.
I'm very lucky. But it is if you especially if you have that, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Fucking keep pushing until they take care of you to the point where you are like adequately satisfied, right? Until there's a solution to
Right.
whatever it is. Anyway,
Mhm.
so that's my lady love. Don't take shit from doctors and also go to the doctor.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Mine is an Instagram account, and it's
Is
at
it gardening?
shut your whore mouth.
That's a yes. Is it Plant Poppy again?
I think I doth protest too much. No. It's about
Oh, okay.
outdoor flowers this time, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much. It's not a houseplant account. It's an outdoor gardening account. Thank you.
The reason I remember the name of that Instagram account, Plant Poppy, is
Mhm.
because every single time Plant Poppy does a fucking live
Mhm.
of all of
It
the Instagrams that
comes
you
up.
and I follow together on the Heaving Bosoms
That
account,
Heaving Bosoms
I get
follows
a
for no reason.
that I get a notification to my phone. It is not on Instagram that it lets me know. I get a full on. It's like, hey, Plant Poppy's live right now, and I'm like, Melody.
That's so weird because so many accounts we
Carlisle.
follow go live. It's so weird that that's the only one.
I know.
I bet she gets accounts when the plant crystal account I follow also goes live. They go live a
Shut
lot.
the fuck up. Phone, don't listen. Phone, don't listen.
My Instagram account recommendation today, my lady love, is at Micro Flower Farm. She is a one lady show, allegedly, in Washington, where she turned her she turned 1.5 acres into a profitable flower farm. And what she grows for the most part is dahlias and ranunculus and a bunch of other beautiful shit. And like, even if you're not that interested in actual gardening, the account is just happy making. It's just gorgeous. Like, it's a hit of beauty whenever something that she posts comes up. And I remembered why I'm obsessed with dahlias. And I like ranunculus also wouldn't go amiss. So anyway, at Micro Flower Farm, it's a big inspire. It's a huge beauty. And I suggest that people follow it if they want. That's my lady love.
Or if you have a co-host who forces you to follow it because their
Yeah.
podcast does in fact follow it on Instagram.
Yeah, why don't you follow it from a joint account? That's what you should
It
do.
Yeah, force all of the people that you share an account with to follow it as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Keeping
listener.
a badass.
And love
And
yourself
love
as much
yourself.
as you love
Mhm.
much as you love shut up, Melody. As much as you love forcing your friends into your interests and hobbies.
You know what? Keeping a badass and love yourself as much as you love that town that my rogue tampon founded.
Oh my God. What do you think that tampon town is named? Tampontopia? Like,
Tamtopia.
this is an official call for from Heaving Bosoms. You can reach us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. We would really appreciate fan art of Tamtopia.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
We love you so much.
Out on its living its best life.
It's really doing the Lord's work out there, I think.
Ooh, all right. Well,
Bye.
Damntopia.
Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by Melody Carlisle.
Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, leave a nice review, and of course, tell all your friends about us, even if they don't read romance.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult.
Head over to our website to sign up for our newsletter, get our Reading Embrace printable, and check out my audiobooks at heavingbosoms.com. All right, we'll be back next week with more swoons and snark. See you then.